So the next demo is by someone that does amazing things with aroma, infusions, and flavorings. He is an aromatic and product formulation chemist, consultant, and educator, and is the author of Bush Scents, Australian Essential Oils and Aromatic Compounds. Please help me welcome the Aroma Science Guy, Mark Webb. Mark's going to do a little preamble to his presentation up here on stage with me, and then we'll dive into his video. So, Mark, do I got you? He's coming to us direct from Australia, so we got a slight delay on the interwebs going across, bouncing around the world.
It seems to be taking its time.
How's it going, Mark?
Yeah, pretty good. I'm not doing too bad considering I've been up since 1. Let's see if I can get this camera to turn on. But we always have trouble with technology when we don't see what's going on. Why is that not opening? I can't get the camera to open. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you perfect. So I'll let you do your intro.
Yeah, well, okay. Let's just see. I'll try one more time with the camera. So the premise for this presentation was to recreate in a more appealing way some of the commercial products that are out there that you make use of sous vide, and recently came across some Kevin's products. Great company in the US that makes these pre-packed meals, and they're very clean. And I thought, well, let's try and do this for the home cook. And then so I've done chicken a couple of different ways, and then I've given you a couple of different recipes in the show notes to how you can make some quick meals from this by making the Thai yellow curry sauce, and also using a pre-packed Thai chicken soup mix. So yeah, so without further ado, let's go to the video. Since this video is not working, this camera's not working, I don't know why.
G'day, Mark Webb, the Aroma Science Guy, and today for the Sous Vide Summit I'm going to be doing chicken breast. It's been pre-brined in some salt and water, and I'll be backpacking it shortly with a few different variations to replicate a commercial product and give you some ideas about how we can expand the use of our sous vide equipment. I came across this Kevin's Thai style coconut chicken dish. As you can see, the chicken breast has been sous vide, and then it's in a Thai style yellow curry sauce, and I thought, why don't I replicate this but tweak it for us and make it better? So I've made up some turmeric and black pepper aromatic mix with a little bit of olive oil just to disperse it, because as you can see it's quite thick. This has got some turmeric oleoresin and some turmeric oil, and also some black pepper oil. And I'm going to be dosing this chicken with it and then cooking it. And what we should get is a beautifully coloured meat at the end of the cook to continue with the recipe. So we've bagged up the diced chicken with the turmeric and black pepper mix, as you can see, and the colours starting to infuse into the meat. And here's also some just plain chicken breast that I brined with that other lot as well. Look, if you're just starting out in sous vide, there is nothing better to try than a brined chicken breast sous vide. Once you've had chicken breast sous vide, you won't go back to try and grill it. It's succulent, it's delicious. Back to this. So yeah, so this is the turmeric and black pepper infused chicken breast. As you can see, the colour's starting to work its way through properly. And when this is done, once it's cooked, we should have beautifully infused meat with the flavour and the colour. And then you'll see what I'm going to do in the next part. So this is as I said, it's a bit of an idea for you for when you want to pre-prepare meals for travel, or for the week, even the week ahead, or the month ahead for that matter. So today I'm going to use the Hydra Pro Plus to do this chicken because it's a bit faster. So it's select poultry. It's a tender cut, whole chicken, whole breast. Taking some measurements, and 35 millimeters is the thickness. It's fresh. I like medium. And now, if I was plating this up to serve just for tonight, I'd be doing a reach core temperature. If I wanted to keep it for a couple of days, I go to pasteurised surface. But I'm making this chicken to pasteurise to keep for a couple of weeks, potentially. So I'm going to go to pasteurise the core as well. So I'm going to select that. It'll do its calculation, come up and give me a time. And the thing with the Hydro Pro Plus is that it's also got this fast cook option that I can tick, and that cuts the cook time down to an hour and 22 minutes, which is fantastic. Makes it a nice quick cook. Start the preheat, and off she goes. So I've put the chicken in the tank, and you can see the different pieces in the different racking, and I've set it up so that the water can circulate properly. So I've got some of the whole chicken breasts, and then I've got the chicken with the turmeric in it in the front of the tank here. And we're just coming up to our preset temperature. And once it hits it, which will be any second, we'll press start. There we go. So the Hydro Pro Plus is off and running, and we'll come back and check it in an hour and 20 minutes. So the chicken's got another 17 minutes, and as you can see, it's picked up some. It's cooking quite nicely. The colours picked up. So what I decided to do was, I saw this at the supermarket the other day. This coconut chicken rice soup, being a fragrant style base, and I thought this would make a great sauce to go over the chicken. And it's gluten free, and you know, I'll be able to thicken this with some potato starch or whatever to make it quite thick. And then I'm also going to have it with some steamed broccoli and cauliflower and some sweet potato mash once that's cooked. So yeah, it's this would be a really easy product to take because it's pre-packed, and you can find stuff like this in the supermarket anywhere. And I mean, the chicken that I'm cooking, as you can see, the other breasts pieces, these are all pasteurised, so these are good for weeks on end. So it makes it a really simple, easy meal to be able to combine something like that, a base sauce which you could either make yourself and pack, or grab one out of the supermarket, and some veg. So that's the dish plated up, and as you can see, the chicken's taken on the colour of the turmeric. It's quite aromatic and smells bloody delicious. So with that coconut Thai soup base, it made us a beautiful sauce really quickly. So it was a quick and easy meal to do. So when we look at the Kevin's ingredients list, you can see that it's a pretty common Thai curry sauce, and I thought I can make something better than this for the second variation on this dish. So now it's time to prepare the sauce for the chicken. Now look, I could go and make a yellow curry paste with a lot of work, but I want to be smart. This is a really good quality, commercially available yellow curry paste. It's got everything in it that I want, and I don't have to make it. So that's a bonus. So basically this sauce is going to be really simple. Some of the curry paste, some fresh lime juice, and some coconut cream. I'm just going to put all of this into the container, and then I'll mix it up. So we've got the coconut cream in the bowl, and now we're going to add some lime juice to it to add some acidity to the sauce. Just so I've added 4 teaspoons of the curry paste to the mixture. And just see how that comes up colour-wise. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. I just want to get that blended before we bag it to pasteurise in the sous vide so that we can store it for a period of time. So depending on how strong you like your curry, yellow curries are not very hot, but they're very flavoursome. I'll drop in a pic of the label to show you all the different aromatics that are in this. Let's just see how that tastes. That's not bad at all. It's got that really lovely complex, typical Thai yellow curry flavour with the acidity from the limes. Yeah, it's got some nice acidity, nice acid bite there, which will cut through the coconut cream. And the yellow paste, there's a little bit of a zing to it, which is how I like it. I don't like stuff being too hot. And the colour's pretty special, so, you know, when we do serve this, this is going to look like an authentic Thai curry, which is great. Now, just to add a bit of thickness to this sauce, I'm going to go with some potato starch, because potatoes are often found in yellow curries, and it's a good gluten-free thickener. Has no flavour profile at all. You won't taste it in the sauce, but it'll give us a little bit of body to the sauce, make it a little bit more unctuous, a little bit thicker when we coat the chicken with it later on at service. So you can see that the potato starch has thickened the sauce nicely. It's a little bit thicker, it'll stick to the chicken better. And now it's time to measure it out and bag it. There should be enough here, I think, for two serves of sauce, which is great because I've got more than one lot of chicken in the fridge already pre-cooked, so that's great. So there we go. I've just vacuum sealed that into the bag, and she's ready to go in with its the other one into the sous vide to be pasteurised. So if you're going to use it in the next day or two, I wouldn't bother, but if you're wanting to keep this for a couple of weeks along with the chicken, then putting it through pasteurisation would be a good idea. And so that's what I'm going to do. So I've got these 2 bags of sauce in the water bath ready to go, and I'm just using the polyscience unit. I'm going to go to manual set and go 60 degrees Celsius, and then I'm going to add a 30-minute, whoops, let's try that again, 30-minute pasteurisation time. So I've done pasteurisation of liquids before where generally 10 minutes is enough to knock out fungi and that sort of thing in fruit juices, to stop some of the more benign, like lactobacillus and the like, in other liquids. We're more concerned about Clostridium and also Listeria. Now, this sauce has got a lot of aromatics in it, so the likelihood of it growing bugs is minimal anyway, but I'm going to be safe. So I'm actually using a thyme that I grabbed out of Douglas Baldwin's book. I looked at a fairly thin fillet of oily fish, which is, this is an oily solution, so that's close enough. And Douglas recommends 30 minutes. Now, I could have set this up on the unit to run in a similar way and let it decide the time, but I decided just to set it manually. So yeah, so once it comes up to temperature, it'll beep, and then I'll put it on and we'll put it through the pasteurisation cycle. And then it'll be a chill with ice to bring it down quickly, and then it can go into the fridge. So I've reheated the chicken and the sauce mix in the sous vide, brought them both back up to 60 degrees to warm them through. And I'm going to open the bags and put them over into this wrought iron pan to warm them through and finish them off before plating. As I mentioned earlier, you know, there is nothing better as a first sous vide dish than chicken breast. Look at how succulent and fall apart this is. And this is not sloppy, this is still quite firm, but you can see where the breast has taken up the turmeric and some of the spices. And, you know, that is succulent meat. So once I introduce the sauce to it, this is warmed through to 60 degrees. I just brought it back up to temperature in the sous vide. And I'm about to put the coconut-based yellow curry sauce over it, Thai yellow curry over it in a second, and then reheat it. Just have a look at this sauce. Now, does that look appealing, or does it look appealing? There's approximately just under 200 grams or 200 mils of sauce for that 450 grams of chicken. That should be just enough. That's a good dosing. So here's the dish plated up. It's a Thai yellow curry, a chicken yellow curry with some fresh thin strips of fresh ginger and some coriander, a little bit of black pepper, over some jasmine rice. And if I don't say myself, I think it looks bloody lovely. I'm going to have to go and eat this now. So I hope you enjoyed this this presentation, and I'll catch you all again soon.
What do y'all think of that presentation? Diving into a few different ways to recreate meals that you can get in the grocery store, but do them a lot better and a lot less expensively, higher quality. Always a great thing. We got some good questions in the comments, and I believe Mark is going to come up on stage so we can just learn a little bit more from his expertise there. So we'll see if we have video of him.
Yes.
Dude.
And here's the t-shirt I mentioned earlier.
Nice, I like it.
Yeah, I have to be careful wearing that going to farmers markets where you get some of the vegos and the other animal cruelty people. They don't like it when they see this t-shirt. They really get upset. Just to answer the question, that's Douglas's book. It's a classic, as most people in here know, and he'll be on tomorrow. So well worth talking to. This guy is the food geek, you know, from a scientist perspective, the mathematician. Amazing.
Yeah, I forget
some
who
chicken
was.
breast.
I forget who was mentioning. I think it was Stefan was talking about that the equations of thermal diffusion are really hard, and it's like Douglas Baldwin literally published a paper on solving them, I believe. So it's like, yeah, Stefan was right. You want to show those
I read
again?
that paper. Yeah, I read that paper I read his original work years ago, and maths is not my strong suit, but he made it amazing. So yeah, that's a typical chicken breast. So that's a brine chicken breast, and that's the sauce. So the beauty of pasteurization is, as long as you keep these refrigerated, there's a meal that will take you less than 10 minutes to heat up. And as I said, if you look in the show notes, I've got some pictures of the Kevin stuff. That looks amazing. Like, they're really clean food. They're very well done. But I thought, why not make it better? So, you know, I love to make it simple. So as I said in the comments, I'll cook 2 or 3 kilos. So, you know, 6 or 8 pounds of chicken at a time, pasteurize it, chuck it in the fridge, and then as I need it, I pull it out. It's fantastic. It's easy. Same with steak. You know, all of us do this. This is one of the things I love about sous vide cooking, because you can prepare so many dishes and pick and pack. You know, dinner at night is 15 minutes. It's done and ready. Yeah. So.
A lot of people had questions about the pasteurization. I think it's something that a lot of people don't realize about sous vide cooking, and it's a shame because it's one of the biggest benefits of sous vide. That you know, not only can you pasteurize the chicken at a lower temperature, but then can you talk a little bit about why, when you do that, you can actually have it in your refrigerator unopened for a longer period of time?
Well, because you're basically doing at least a 3 log drop of the microbes in there at that temperature. Generally, if I'm cooking meat for 24 hours plus, it's pasteurized. It's nothing's alive in there. Particularly if I put some good antimicrobial aromatics on the outside of it. Pre-searing meat, particularly beef, is really good to knock the lactobacillus off the outside. You know, so you don't get that sort of funky flavor in there. I'll often use rosemary CO2 extract as an antioxidant when I'm cooking beef or lamb, because it stops the growth of those bacteria, and so it makes it look a lot better. I'm actually watching this now. That's people asking about deals. I'm not interested. What was that one, Patsy? Any comments on putting the grocery store vacuum sealed pork, tenderloins already seasoned directly in the water bath? I do that all the time. As long as the bags are polyethylene bags and there's no blood strip in there, none of those absorbent strips to suck up the blood. I've done that before. The only thing is if it's if they've used fresh garlic in the bag, that's not such a great idea. We've had discussions about fresh garlic before, fermentation and possibly botulism with fresh garlic. So you're better to use freeze-dried or dried garlic in there instead. So yeah.
What were the types of oils and extracts you used at the beginning? Mike missed what specifically they were.
Okay, I've listed them in the show notes. So that's why I did the show notes for you, to talk about everything, to give all the photos, because I did go through them. So because this was a Thai curry, what I did was I used a turmeric oleoresin, which is an extract of turmeric root, which is that really bright yellow color, plus some turmeric oil, which is a lighter fraction of the turmeric, which has the more citrusy notes in it. Black pepper, and I also added some CO2 ginger, which is the nice pungency of ginger. And then to reinforce that, so I use CO2 extracts in cooking because you don't get those off flavors like you were mentioning, Jason, about not using black pepper in sous vide cooking. If I use the extracted aromatics, you don't get that because there's none of the cellulose and other material to burn. And then at service time, that's when I garnish with fresh coriander, fresh ginger, because that's some really nice ginger I had. It was very sweet, very citrusy ginger, so it was perfect as a julienne accent on top. Yes, I did dice that by hand, by the way. So it's a bit ratty. And then the same with the coriander. Just chop up the coriander, sprinkle it over the top, and then a little bit of fresh black pepper. I didn't add salt because the pre-brined chicken has already got sufficient seasoning from the salt in it. And normally I'll do 2 to 4 hours. I did do one lot overnight, and it would have been better for smoking. It was a little bit too strong, but it wasn't that bad. In this sort of dish, the salt disappears. And I also didn't add any sweetness to this, and I mentioned this in the show notes. Normally you'd add palm sugar to a yellow curry, or you can use brown sugar or monk fruit or other stuff. But I'm sort of dead against adding sweetness when it's not needed. This is a savoury dish; it didn't need that. So, how long could you 48-hour Colby, mate? I've had a roast like that in the fridge for 5 weeks that I pulled out, and the bag hadn't blown. When I opened the bag, there was no smell because I'd put aromatics on it to stop it anyway and pre-seared it. And then I took it out, dried it off, and then put it in my smoker and smoked it. And it was just like I'd done it yesterday. So I'm not recommending that you push food out that far. Generally for me, a week, 2 weeks, I don't even think about it. 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Beef, definitely. Lamb, definitely. Poultry, seafood, yeah, not so much. Be smart about it. Look, if it looks like it's blowing and swelling in the bag, throw it out. It's gone off. It's pretty easy.
And
what amount of aromatics is antimicrobial?
Real quick,
not much. Sorry.
I just want to make a point too, real quick. When we're talking about storing the food that's been vacuum sealed, you have to make sure that you sous vide it and pasteurize it. It's something that AJ brought up at the CREA classes, that a lot of people assume that if you vacuum seal it, it's extending shelf life just by doing that. And that's not true. And in a lot of cases, it actually reduces shelf life if you vacuum seal it. They went into a little bit of the science of that at the class, but you want to make sure that after you vacuum seal it, within about 24 hours, that you get it into that sous vide machine and you cook it, get it pasteurized, and then you can have these longer holding times.
As far as the aromatics for antimicrobial, it's less than 1%. Like often, so for the rosemary antioxidant, it's 0.01 to 0.05% for the antimicrobial, like preserving antioxidant aspect. As I said, when you look at the mixture of what's in this paste, this stuff would probably be good in the fridge for months, frankly. I'm not going to keep it in there. It's going to probably get eaten in the next day or two. But Yeah, well, that'll be dinner sometime this week, I suspect. I've got to go now and prep a whole lot more chicken I've just done because, but as you saw, succulent chicken breast, easy to cook. It's you can't do it any easier. This is what I love about sous vide. Once you get it in, it's about you can get consistently good results time after time. As Stefan said earlier, it's really dependent too on grass-fed, grain-fed, cut of meat, the animal. But you can tell when you pick up a piece of meat and you feel it, you'll know whether it's tenderized or not. And often when I'm cooking long cooks, similar to what you do, Jason, I'll pull it up, I'll feel it. Is that tender yet? No, leave it for a few more hours. The pinch test, you'll know if you've got breakdown of that connective tissue or not. And if you did muck it up and you've pulled it early and you've gone to cut it and gone, oh, this is, rebag it, throw it back in. Easy.
That's what I did.
So,
it's the easiest way to do it. Do you have anything else?
I hope you guys enjoyed that. I wanted to do something sort of like for midweek meals like I did last year, but expanded a bit for travel, because I know a lot of people want to get on the road and go traveling, and you've got some amazing places in America, and as we do here. So I thought this is a great travel prep for meals. And yes, you can freeze all this. This is all freezable. That you could freeze this for months if you wanted to. I don't see a point, but it's because it's a relatively easy thing to make. The only thing I have to say is when I made these sauces, I put too much potato starch in, and that's why that meal looked a bit gluggy. I put 3 tablespoons of potato starch. I should have used maybe 1. So yeah, that's the only thing I'd say. But I corrected that in the recipe anyway. So anyway.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the great video. I learned a lot about it. I think it's something that a lot of people can use in their daily cooking. It's a good reminder of, especially for home cooks, about some of the easy things you can do. And you can use similar techniques if you're preparing for a big party. You can cook all that food ahead of time, keep in your fridge, and just reheat it when people come over. And you can have a great meal with no stress the day of, which is one of my favorite things as well, to take those that kind of technique and apply it to that. Thank you very much for coming on.
Good idea. I think it'd be a great idea to discuss this with Douglas tomorrow as one of the questions about pasteurization, because that guy knows that stuff back to front, inside out, and he can really, give the simple explanations. So
yeah.
Anyway,
he literally wrote the book on it. So
yeah, he did. Yeah, cool. All right,
thank you so
I'm going to
much,
go
Mark.
get some breakfast since I've been up since 1 a.m. So yeah, I need some food.
Yeah, it's time for you to go get a nap.
No, I'll be up. I'll be back shortly for the rest of the day. I'll hang with you guys, and I'll be back tomorrow as well, because there is so much to see and so much to interact with. And look, watching Kevin and Lloyd and Darren all play the Three Stooges role of attacking one another, it's a bit of fun, Yeah. And then of course there's you and Mike having a go at one another as well, which that's just a great thing too. So yeah. Anyway, all right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. It's always great having Mark on. He does a great job and really knows a lot, especially about the aromatics and the oils, and does amazing things with sous vide cooking and infusions. He's a great one to follow, and I always look forward to learning from his expertise in our videos. We had a question in the comments that said, Jason, do you have to pasteurize if you freeze it after vac sealing? And no, you don't have to pasteurize if you freeze it. If I'm storing something for long term, I usually pasteurize, because a lot of pasteurization doesn't take too much longer than just heating it through. So I work from home a lot of the time, like a lot of us I think do now. This was more rare pre-pandemic, but if you are cooking a steak, you might be able to heat it through in an hour and a half, and pasteurizing might take 2 hours or 2.5. Like that extra half hour to 45 minutes isn't a deal breaker for me. So I'll just cook it a little bit longer and pasteurize it, so I know I have better long-term storage, and then I'll throw it in the freezer, and it just gives me a little more leeway on the other side. So, but you don't have to pasteurize it if you're going to freeze it. And if you open up your sous vide food, once the oxygen gets in there and the normal air in your kitchen, it basically just turns into normal leftovers. So you can't keep it for weeks in the fridge once the bag's been opened. But you could also freeze it at that point as well, even though it'd be no longer considered pasteurized in the bag. Make sure I didn't miss any other comments there. And looks good. So give Mark some love in the comments. Always great to hear him come in and talk about some of those things.